All right, let's get ready for the tournament. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of the Peacock original series, Twisted Metal. This will follow Season 2, Episode 1, which is called Present, and is directed by Sgriccia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at Season 2 of Twisted Metal. We have now finally come to what is hopefully the full tournament, or at least portion of the tournament that we've been kind of looking forward to ever since Season 1's final conclusion. And yeah, it's Season 1 for the most part was a pretty successful season. It was fun, it was irreverent, it was goofy, it was over the top. I think Mackie was good in the show as John Doe. I think, Stephanie Beatriz was good as, of course, Quiet. Introduced, of course, Samoa Joe playing, of course, Sweet Tooth, voiced by Will Arnett. And it became a show that just was irreverent, was humorous, went for the goofy nature that the Zombieland / Deadpool creators are known for doing in a lot of respects. Known for having great action, great violence, and comedic tones and stuff like that. So here we are in Season 2. This series is sparsed out in a really weird take where the first week is 3 episodes and it goes like 2 episodes and the final week is 3 episodes. So why they're doing that, I don't entirely know, but you're going to get a lot of reviews from me for the next few weeks of this series. And so we're going to talk about the first episode and only the first episode and kind of what it entails. And yeah, so the first episode is kind of a catch up from the last season. John Doe is in, of course, New San Francisco. Of course, Stephanie Beatriz's character of Quiet is now with the dolls. And it basically follows these two characters as they have been kind of integrating themselves into these worlds. And for some reason, Neve Campbell is not in this season. I don't entirely know why. I can't remember exactly the reason why. They now have a new Raven for whatever reason, played by Patty Guggenheim. And basically, John Doe is trying to escape from New San Francisco. He's not very happy. He's been in a predicament where he is constantly under order of this military militia group. He is constantly having to deliver pizzas. He's a delivery boy. He is just not very happy, but it is Anthony Mackie doing comedic tones. So he's reading the Babysitter's Club. And there's a lot there when it comes to who we are as a person, what we need to do to be that person, how this New San Francisco is not all it cracks up to be with the nature of the tones of how everybody's under this enforcement rule by Raven and stuff like that. So we see a lot of that. We see a lot of him taking on the police force. We see a lot of him escaping the scenarios and how he escapes, of course, New San Francisco is by stealing the ambulance of a character that got severely injured in the beginning of the episode, and therefore Raven's character was involved in that. And like I said, there's some mystical voodoo, whatever it is. But anyways, the one girl is injured. She's been in a coma for many, many years. Raven's been taking care of her in the ambulance. And of course, John Doe figures out a way to escape. He's actually good friends with one of the police force members. There's a lot of funny tones there. There's a lot of funny stuff there. There's when he delivers a pizza and he actually sprinkles the peppers, the pepper seasoning that you get from Papa John's or something like that in the eye of one of them. And he's beat up and choked and threatened by Raven and stuff like that. And as far as his character arc, it's just not a lot there, to be fairly honest. It's just the continuation of the nature of the disturbing nature of what New San Francisco is. And like I said, he escapes and he's chased after by, of course, Raven's commandos or police force, and then eventually he's chased after by the dolls. And we see also on the dolls side, we see that whole encampment. We see that they're a very vicious group. They attack actually this facility that we learn. I don't know if that's Bradley Dorff or Brad Dorff or whoever it is, but this guy is creating some kind of liquid or some kind of what the dolls think is an ointment for a medicine, but it turns out to be lube. They made a deal with whatever town they're in, but yeah, it's pretty funny. But the dolls are, they're a group of women that are very very dark and disturbed and are very violent, as we see later on, and they destroy this guy with they have this chemical spray that they spray, and it causes the guy's eyes to catch on fire. It's pretty graphic. But in this encampment, we of course see the main character, the main leader of the dolls, and we find out later on that, of course, I believe it is John Doe's sister, if I remember right. It's been a while since I saw the first season, but there is some kind of animosity, some kind of feeling of the quiet do the right thing of how she looks and how she feels, but she is accepted in this group, and it's just a lot of like building on who the dolls are. It's a lot of building on like their character and what they entail. They party, they have fun, they're energetic, they steal, they kill. They're very much a gang type group in a lot of respects. And what Twisted Metal is doing, what it has been doing, is it's about gangs and about really kind of chaotic, crazy characters fighting in a tournament. But because this is a TV series and because it needs to do what it needs to do, we have to have some kind of dimensional creation of what they are and stuff like that. So we see a lot of development between the dolls, who, once again, the dolls or doll face was one character in the show, and so on and so forth, John Doe and stuff like that. But the other arc is, of course, Sweet Tooth and Stu. This is probably the best stuff of this episode, to be fairly honest, because the stuff with John Doe and Quiet it's a little kind of, yes, we need to get this out of the way. The reason the episode's called Present, because we need to get this out of the way to bring everybody up to speed. But of course, Stu, who we know is now with Sweet Tooth, they're going across country. They are trying to take down the people that Sweet Tooth feels are the more stronger-willed characters. They're like Baby Doll and stuff like that. They come across a group of gang members that they destroy in like really violent fashion, and I love the back and forth between Stu and Sweet Tooth, where Sweet Tooth goes, "You need to go for the apples, the bananas." it's like a sequential order of how you need to kill people. It eventually leads to this really disturbing scene where we have this woman who's peeing in the field, like she's using the bathroom. And when Sweet Tooth and Stu approach the car, this guy gets out of a car and he has the umbilical cord attached to his stomach, and he has a ball and chain like a ball and chain thing, and he's using that as a weapon. Now, because it's Twisted Metal, okay, we'll go with it. It's really funny, but it's really disturbing. It's a really disturbing image. But, of course, Sweet Tooth kills him, and he actually uses him as a puppet later on. But I really like that fight. I think the stuff that Sweet Tooth does and says is really, really psychotic and chaotic, but there is a level of just fun to his character that I really enjoyed. And on top of everything, they decide they're going to start a tournament so that Sweet Tooth can be the winner. And that's when we get Anthony Carrigan as Calypso. And Calypso is the main starter of Twisted Metal, like the main runner of Twisted Metal, the one who creates Twisted Metal. And Anthony Carrigan has a sense of campiness to his character, which the show really needs, and it's really fun. And his expressive eyes, and his mannerisms, and his just kind of like, you almost think he is just mentally unstable, which he is in a lot of respects. But he decides he's going to instill a tournament, and the one winner, whoever wins out of everybody, will get the wish of their desire. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how dark and disturbing and weird, it could be anything. They will get that wish. And so we see what is going to be the beginnings of the tournament that is Twisted Metal, that we've all been waiting for a season and an episode now. Now, how long does that take to happen? I don't know, but we'll see how that comes to fruition. We do have 2 more episodes to talk about in this first season, or this second season, in this week. But I do like how this episode ends with a really cool chase sequence between the Raven's cars and, of course, John Doe in the van. Eventually, John Doe is attacked by the dolls in their kind of really cool vehicle. Of course, we get a DMX song. They destroy the EMT vehicle, the ambulance, and this is when the main doll, the main woman, sees John Doe and goes, "Lionel." And then, of course, one of the women knocks him out. Of course, John Doe and Quiet are reunited. And once again, I think she is his sister or something of that nature, or whatever it is. And John Doe doesn't remember who she is. So there's that whole thing. And that's where the episode really ends. Once again, it is a reintroduction after 2 or 3 years it has been to these characters and what they've been doing since we last saw them. I think the what has happened before, thing that happens before the episode, does a pretty good job of explaining all that. For this episode to be what it is, it's it really does a nice job. It's just kind of slow and plotting. Once again, quiet, and John Doe's kind of storylines, they need to happen so you can kind of see where they get to the point where they're eventually going to be reunited. But Sweet Tooth and Stu have like the best stuff in this episode, so it's a very solid episode. But I have a feeling that it's going to get better. Hopefully it will, but we'll see. But that's my take on the first episode of Twisted Metal, which is called Present. At least I think that's how it's all like car tag names, like when you see a license plate. So I think it said Present. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but the most of them I can understand. But this one I thought was Perseprint, but it's Present, I think is what it's saying. But that's kind of what it is. So that is my take. For a score of this episode, I'll give it 8.5 out of 10 because it is a good episode, but it needs more. It's a good idea that they're having 3 episodes in the first week. So, but for an 8.5 out of 10 for the first episode, I think that's very much a good score for the first episode. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, I will see you on the next episode. But before we end, comments below. What do you think of this first episode? What do you think overall? Did you like it? Did you not like it? All that good stuff. Are you looking forward to the season? But once again, hit the comments below. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to see what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you for the next video of season 2 of Twisted Metal. Peace out, guys.